So today is day 89 of Through the Bible in 1 year. We've got 2 chapters to cover. We've got 1 Samuel 13 and 1 Samuel chapter 14. And I've written out some key events of some big events that are going to happen in today's chapters reading, just so you can kind of get a grasp of what's to come. But what I'm going to advise you to do also is, as we're basically going along, write down some of the things you think are key events as well. All right. So just before we get started, let me know in the comment section below, which one of the things that I've written out here in regards to key events do you think is going to be the most exciting? We've got number 1, Saul's big fumble. We've got number 2, Saul's son goes to war secretly. Number 3, we've got Saul's strange curse. And we wrap up talking about how Saul tries to kill one of his sons. Let me know in the comment section below which one of these seems like the most interesting, and we can take the conversation further. So let's get right into today's Bible study reading, and let's start at 1 Samuel 13 and verse 1, and it reads, Saul reigned 1 year, and when he had reigned 2 years over Israel, Saul chose him 3,000 of Israel. 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash and in Mount Bethel, and 1,000 were with Jonathan in Gibeah of Benjamin, and the rest of the people he sent every man to his tent. So first things foremost, okay, what have we seen? If you've been following along with us in the previous chapters, you would have seen how God said to Samuel that he should tell the Israelites what the king was going to do. One of the things he said the king was going to do was take men unto himself to be with him, okay? And we've already read in 1 Samuel 13 what it says already. It says, after 2 years of Saul being king, what did he do? It says he chose 3,000 men, okay, and he divvied this up by 2,000 being with Saul, okay, and 1,000 with Jonathan, okay. And look what it says next. And Jonathan smote the garrison of the Philistines that in Geba. And the Philistines heard, and Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, Let the Hebrews hear. And all Israel heard say, Saul had smitten a garrison of the Philistines, and Israel also was had in abomination with the Philistines. And the people were called together after Saul to Gilgal. So what do we see first and foremost? Okay, the first thing we see here is Jonathan, okay, John has a battle. And then Saul blows the trumpet. But what happens? When he blows the trumpet, okay, it says that the people said, Saul. The people said that Saul defeated the Philistines, okay? Let's keep reading. 5, and the Philistines gathered themselves together to fight with Israel, 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and people as the sand which on the seashore in multitude, and they came up and pitched in Michmash eastward from Bethaven. So we now see that the Philistines, and this has been a constant back and forth, okay, as the Israelites are basically working and have worked their way out of Philistine oppression. But we see that it says 30,000, okay, chariots / 6,000 horsemen. And they come out to war. What happens next? When the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were distressed, then the people did hide themselves in caves and in thickets and in rocks and in high places and in pits. And the Hebrews went over Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. And as for Saul, he yet in Gilgal, and all the people followed him trembling. So what do we see here? We see a couple of things. We see that the 30,000, okay, come out. Then what happens? Israel hide. Where did they hide? It says they hid in caves and rocks and thickets, in pits and high places. And the key thing it also says is that it says that they traveled to the other side of Jordan where it was land allocated to Gad, Reuben, and half of the tribe of Manasseh. Okay, they're so petrified they leave the promised land proper, so to speak, and head over to the other side of Jordan where they're trying to run away, where they can hide from the Philistines, they believe. Okay, and what happens next? Saul, it says, stayed in his place in the land of Benjamin. 8. And he tarried 7 days according to the set time that Samuel. But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. So Saul basically is waiting for Samuel, because Samuel has basically said to him, I'm going to come and meet you. But after the 7 days, Samuel hasn't appeared, and the people then scatter. Okay? And Saul said, bring hither a burnt offering to me, and peace offerings, and he offered the burnt offering. So what happens next? Let's do it up here. Saul, after 7 days, offers a burnt offering. Okay. And sacrifice. And look what happens next. Okay. And it came to pass that as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came, and Saul went out to meet him, that he might salute him. Okay? So what happens next? He makes this offering right here. And then it says, as soon as he finished, Samuel the prophet came. Okay? Why was this significant? It was significant because Saul was the king. He wasn't supposed to be making that offering. And that's what we're going to read next, okay? What it says next, it says, 11, and Samuel said, what hast thou done? And Saul said, because I saw that the people were scattered from me, and thou camest not within the days appointed, and the Philistines gathered themselves together at Michmash, therefore said I, the Philistines will come down now upon me to Gilgal, and I have not made supplication unto the Lord. I forced myself, therefore, and offered a burnt offering. So just to sum up what Saul says between verse 11 to 12 is fear. Now, if you've been following along with us in the previous video, one of the things Samuel said is Samuel laid out a whole line of prophecies. He said, Saul, go to this place and this is going to happen. You're gonna meet people and they're going to tell you that the animals that you were looking for your dad have been found. He says you're going to meet another group. You're going to meet 3 men. They're going to have 3 loaves of bread, 3 kids, and a bottle of wine. They're going to give you 2 loaves of bread, etc. Then you're going to go and prophesy. He laid out a list of different things that was going to happen in advance. And then he basically said, these things are going to happen, and because of that, trust God and know that God is with you. But what we're seeing here is that it only took, let's say 8 days, okay? Because it says he was waiting for 7 days. So it says after 7 days, okay? He made this offering after 7 days, and then as soon as he'd finished making the offering, Samuel arises, okay? So let's just say 8 days, okay? It took him about 8 days for him to get scared. And really, when you think about it, okay, bear in mind that the Philistines would have been coming out for Saul, okay? As he said, they were lined up at Michmash. And yes, loads of the Israelites had ran away to the other side of Jordan. After 7 days, people are scattering from him, which obviously they're getting scared. And he says, you know what, I'm going to make this offering. So right after that, is really within the space of a day, so to speak, his fear gets the best of him. And what does Samuel say for this transgression? 13. And Samuel said to Saul, thou hast done foolishly. Thou hast not kept the commandment of the Lord thy God, which he commanded thee. Okay? So Samuel says, verse 13, you have done foolishly. Because Samuel's the one that's supposed to make that offering. Okay? Or Samuel's the one supposed to be the one to initiate this offering, not Saul. And what happens because of that? What did he say? 13, the middle. He says, for now would the Lord have established thy kingdom upon Israel forever. Okay? But now thy kingdom shall not continue. The Lord hath sought him a man after his own heart, and the Lord hath commanded him captain over his people, because thou hast not kept which the Lord commanded thee. Okay? So Samuel says, your kingdom is over. Basically, in a nutshell. He says God would have established you in your kingdom forever. But because you didn't obey him, God is going to seek out a man after his own heart. Okay? And then it says, 15, and Samuel arose and got him out from Gilgal unto Gibeah of Benjamin, and Saul numbered the people present with him about 600 men. So this is really interesting. We started off talking about how he chose 3,000 men, 2,000 to be with Saul, okay, 1,000 to be with Jonathan. Now it's talking about how Saul's numbering the people, and there's 600 men. 16, and Saul and Jonathan his son, and the people present with them abode in Gibeah of Benjamin, but the Philistines encamped in Michmash. And the spoilers came out of the camp of the Philistines in 3 companies. One company turned unto the way, Ophrah, unto the land of Shual, and another company turned away Bephoron, and another company turned away of the border that looketh to the valley of Zeboim toward the wilderness. So look what happens, okay? We've just covered Saul's big fumble, okay? He made a big fumble. But what also did we also cover? We saw that we're seeing a 3-way attack. They're coming from 3 different ways as a point of attack. 19. Now there was no smith found throughout all the land of Israel, for the Philistines said, lest the Hebrews make swords or spears. But all the Israelites went down to the Philistines to sharpen every man his share, and his coulter, and his axe, and his mattocks. Yet they had a file for the mattocks, and for the coulters, and for the forks, and for the axes, and to sharpen the goads. So it came to pass in the day of battle, that there was neither sword nor spear found in the hand of any of the people that was Saul and Jonathan. But with Saul and with Jonathan his son was there found. And the garrison of the Philistines went out to the passage of Michmash. So the last thing we're going to highlight here is that the Philistines know that the Israelites, or let's just say the Israelites, have been disarmed by the Philistines. Okay? Because they know that if they allow them, they're under their oppression, if they allow them to have these weapons, these tools, then there's going to be a problem when it comes to battle. So they disarmed them, and it's basically saying that only Saul and Jonathan, his son, had actually these weapons that we're talking about. And that wraps up the first chapter in today's Bible study, 1 Samuel 13. So let's go on to 1 Samuel 14 now and see what happens after all of the fallout that we've covered. So in one chapter, all we got so far in today in regards to all of the things we've covered here is Saul's big fumble. He made an offering when he wasn't supposed to. He got scared, and because of that one big mistake, okay, Samuel told Saul that, look, God isn't going to choose you to be king forever anymore. He's going to choose someone after his own heart. So we've still got to cover Saul's son going to war secretly, okay? We're going to see Saul make a strange curse, and we're going to see Saul try to kill one of his sons, okay? So out of everything that's left, okay, what do you think you're most looking forward to out of number 2, number 3, and number 4? Let me know in the comment section below, all right? So 14:1 reads, Now it came to pass upon a day that Jonathan the son of Saul said unto the young man that bare his armor, Come and let us go over to the Philistines' garrison that on the other side. But he told not his father. Okay. So what do we see here? We see Jonathan say to his armor bearer, let's go to war. Okay. But one thing he's going to do here specifically is it says at the end of verse 1, he told not his father. Okay, so he's going to go and do this secretly. Saul's son goes to war secretly, and we see that the Saul that goes to war secretly is Jonathan. Let's keep reading. And Saul tarried in the uttermost part of Gibeah under a pomegranate tree, which in Migron, and the people that with him about 600 men. So there's still 600 men with Saul. Okay, we can put a little, still 600 men with Saul. Okay, verse 2. 3. And Ahiah, the son of Ahitub, Ichabod's brother, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eli, the Lord's priest in Shiloh, wearing an ephod. And the people knew not that Jonathan was gone. Okay, so what do we see here? We've covered a lot of this in the last couple of chapters in regards to Samuel, but about how Eli and his sons were basically wiped out, and how Ichabod was the one that survived. Now we're hearing about Ahiah, okay, the priest. So no one knows that Jonathan's basically gone here. And between the passages by which Jonathan sought to go over unto the Philistines' garrison, a sharp rock on the one side and a sharp rock on the other side. And the name of the one, Bozez, and the name of the other, Seneh. The forefront of the one situate northward over against Michmash, and the other southward against Gibeah. And Jonathan said to the young man that bare his armor, Come and let us go over unto the garrison of these uncircumcised. It may be that the Lord will work for us, for no restraint to the Lord to save by many or by few. So he basically says, look, the two of us, let's go, okay? It doesn't matter if there's loads of us or if there's a small amount of us, God can still deliver them into our hands, okay? 7, and his armor bearer said unto him, No, I'm not going to go, no. But in all seriousness, what else is he going to say? Do all that in thine heart. Turn thee. Behold, I with thee according to thy heart. Then said Jonathan, Behold, we will pass over unto men, and we will discover ourselves unto them. If they say unto us, Tarry until we come to you, then we will stand still in our place, and we will not go up unto them. But if they say thus, Come up unto us, then we will go up, for the Lord hath delivered them into our hand, and this a sign unto us. So Jonathan basically says here, how they respond will be the sign. So he's basically saying, if they say stay there, okay, then we're going to stay. But if they say, come on over, that means that's a sign from God basically saying that God's going to deliver them into our hands and we're going to go and fight. Okay? "11. And both of them discovered themselves unto the garrison of the Philistines, so they made themselves known. Okay? And the Philistines said, Behold, the Hebrews come forth out of the holes where they had hid themselves. And the men of the garrison answered Jonathan and his armor bearer and said, Come up to us, and we will shew you a thing. Middle of 12. And Jonathan said unto his armor bearer, Come up after me, for the Lord hath delivered them into the hand of Israel. So his mindset is, because they said come over, that is the sign that God is going to deliver them. Okay? 13. And Jonathan climbed up upon his hands and upon his feet, and his armor bearer after him. And they fell before Jonathan, and his armor bearer slew after him. And that first slaughter which Jonathan and his armor bearer made was about 20 men, within, as it were, an half acre of land, a yoke. So what do we see? This is like the second time in today's reading that Jonathan has wiped out. Jonathan plus the armor bearer wipe out 20 men. Okay? 2 against 20, they wipe them out. This is the second time we've seen Jonathan in today's chapters go to battle and have victory. So it shows you that Saul was obviously a man of war. Okay, he's obviously the king, and his son Jonathan is equally a man of war who can handle his own, so to speak. Okay. 15. And there was trembling in the host, in the field, and among all the people, the garrison and the spoilers. They also trembled, and the earth quaked. So it was a very great trembling. And the watchmen of Saul and Gibeah of Benjamin looked, and behold, the multitude melted away, and they went on beating down. Then said Saul unto the people that with him, Number now, and see who is gone from us. And when they had numbered, behold, Jonathan and his armor bearer not. So what basically happens is, because of this battle, okay, everyone in the Philistine garrison, in sort of like the compound, the area, goes crazy. Now the watchman who's in the land, who's with Saul near Gibeah, etc., is seeing. He's seeing this. He's seeing the tumult, the craziness going on, and they don't fully understand what's happening. They know that there has to be some sort of battle, and that's why Saul later then says, "Okay, number the people." Because once they number the people, they're going to find out the total, okay? Who's here? Are the 600 men still here, etc.? They do the numbering and they realize that Jonathan and his armor bearer are not there. So at this point, this is when his secret war, okay, that he went to fight has been made known. 18. And Saul said unto Ahiah, Bring hither the ark of God, for the ark of God was at that time with the children of Israel. And it came to pass, while Saul talked unto the priest, that the noise that in the host of the Philistines went on and increased. And Saul said unto the priest, Withdraw thine hand. So the drama is still going on, and Saul basically says, Look, stop. And Saul and all the people that with him assembled themselves, and they came to the battle. And behold, every man's sword was against his fellow, a very great discomfiture. Moreover, the Hebrews were with the Philistines before that time, which went up with them into the camp round about, even they also to be with the Israelites that with Saul and Jonathan. Likewise, all the men of Israel which had hid themselves in Mount Ephraim, they heard that the Philistines fled, even they also followed hard after them in the battle. So this battle's so severe, which was set up by Jonathan and his armor bearer, that even the people hiding come out and go to fight, okay, with the Philistines. So what is really interesting in all of this stuff is what Jonathan said previously, where he said in verse 6, it doesn't matter if there's many of us or there's few of us, God can deliver them into his hands. So the Lord saved Israel that day, and the battle passed over unto Bethaven. And the men of Israel were distressed that day, for Saul had adjured the people, saying, Curse the man that eateth food until evening, that I may be avenged of mine enemies. So none of the people tasted food. And all the land came to a wood, and there was honey upon the ground. So what do we see here? Okay. Saul made a curse. Okay. This is one of the things we said. And the reason we called it a strange curse, because Saul said, Cursed is the man who eats food. Okay. Before we win the battle. 26. And when the people were coming to the wood, behold, the honey dropped, but no man put his hand to his mouth, for the people feared the oath. Okay. The oath. The curse. But Jonathan heard not when his father charged the people with the oath. Why? Why didn't he hear? Because he went out secretly. So probably during this time when he went to war, this is when Saul made this proclamation. Okay. So he didn't hear the oath. Middle of 27. Wherefore he put forth the end of the rod that in his hand, and dipped it in an honeycomb, and put his hand to his mouth, and his eyes were enlightened. So I mean, obviously he's eating food, he's strengthened, obviously he feels better. Okay. Then answered one of the people and said, Thy father straitly charged the people with an oath, saying, Curse the man that eateth food this day. And the people were faint. Then said Jonathan, My father hath troubled the land. See, I pray you, how mine eyes have been enlightened, because I tasted a little of this honey. How much more if haply the people had eaten freely today of the spoil of their enemies, which they found? For had there not been now a much greater slaughter among the Philistines? So what he's saying is, Saul made this strange curse, okay, which we've kind of covered now already. But he's basically saying, look, he ate the honey. He didn't know that there's a curse. And he turns around and says, Saul has distressed the people because he thinks the slaughter would have been greater. Okay. And logically it makes sense, because at the end of the day, if everyone's eaten and feeling better, okay, they're more likely to be stronger and be able to fight better. Okay. So that's what he's basically saying. He's basically saying the slaughter would have been greater if Saul didn't put them under what he's kind of dubbing a silly curse. Okay. But nonetheless, Saul's strange curse is I think, gonna be prophetical and significant, because we're hearing about how Jonathan is this great man, which he seems to be. But this isn't the first time we've seen things like this, when people say things that later come back to bite them. We done a video, you can watch it here, okay, I'll put it in the cards, of a guy named Jephthah in 2 books previously in our Through the Bible study. We read about how he made a silly vow that came back to bite him. We've also read about other things previously as well. Some things like that should come to mind is like Jacob in the book of Genesis, when his favorite wife had actually stole these artifacts from his father-in-law, and he basically said, let the person who has these things die. He didn't know that his wife had it. She didn't die at the time, but later on we find out Tariq she dies. I believe it was because of what Jacob said. I think those things are synonymous, and we see a lot of stuff like this when people make these statements and these curses. It's a lesson. They're sprinkled throughout all the Bible, and I think they're really significant, because they tell you and I identify and outline to you that, look, watch what you say, okay, because what you say has power. Let's see what happens next after he's eaten this and what he said. 31. And they smote the Philistines that day from Michmash to Aijalon, and the people were very faint. And the people flew upon the spoil, and took sheep and oxen and calves, and slew on the ground, and the people did eat with the blood. So that's another thing they did, okay? They get to the battle, and what do? they eat with the blood. Now, this isn't something they should have done anyway. Leviticus 3:17 gives you context, but this gives you insights into a couple of different things. Okay, so firstly, Jonathan says the slaughter would have been greater, and the interesting thing is, if they had eaten at that time, would they have been more patient and prepared the food better instead of eating the food with the blood, which is something God told them not to do? Okay, that's something to consider. Okay, let's keep going. 33. Then they told Saul, saying, Behold, the people sin against the Lord in that they eat with the blood. And he said, Ye have transgressed. Roll a great stone upon unto me this day. And Saul said, Disperse yourselves among the people, and say unto them, Bring me hither every man his ox, and every man his sheep, and slay here, and eat, and sin not against the Lord in eating with the blood. And all the people brought every man his ox with him that night, and slew there. And Saul built an altar unto the Lord. The same was the first altar that he built unto the Lord. And Saul said, Let us go down after the Philistines by night, and spoil them unto the morning light. And let us not leave a man of them. And they said, Do soever what seemeth good unto thee. Then said the priest, Let us draw near hither unto God. Okay. So Saul basically realizes they've messed up. Okay. And he tries to make, ultimately, reconciliation. Okay. So he basically tries to sort them out. Okay, no, come and kill them this way, etc. As a way to sort the situation out, which is kind of, it's a good thing. Okay, it's better than him just allowing them to do it, etc. Let's keep going. 37. And Saul asked counsel of God, Shall I go down after the Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into the hand of Israel? But he answered him not that day. Okay, so God doesn't answer him. 39. For the Lord liveth, which saveth Israel. 38. And Saul said, Draw ye near hither, all the chief of the people, and know and see wherein this sin hath been this day. For the Lord liveth, which saveth Israel. Though it be in Jonathan my son, he shall surely die. But not a man among all the people answered him. Then said he unto all Israel. So his whole argument is, because God's not delivering him, okay, his whole argument is, because God's not answering him, there has to be sin. And what did I just say earlier on? I said, we've already seen him make a severe statement, a severe curse, which is probably going to come back to bite him, in my opinion. But what does he do? Look at what he says next. He says, even if it's, so he says, though it be in Jonathan my son, he shall surely die. So he's basically saying, even if it's his son that has committed the sin, he needs to die. 40. Then said he unto all Israel, Be ye on one side, and I and Jonathan my son will be on the other side. And the people said unto Saul, Do what seemeth good unto thee. Okay, so this is loads of people. Okay, and he says, him. He says, look, let's divide the people up, everyone on one side, okay, and him and Jonathan on the other side. Let's basically find out what's actually going on here. So what does he say next? 41. Therefore Saul said unto the Lord God of Israel, Give a perfect. And Saul and Jonathan were taken, but the people escaped. So they take lots, okay? They take lots, and this side is taken. So they know that it's on this side where the issue is. And Saul said, Cast between me and Jonathan my son. And Jonathan was taken, okay? Jonathan's taken by the lots. Then Saul said to Jonathan, Tell me what thou hast done. And Jonathan told him and said, I did but taste a little honey with the end of the rod that in mine hand. Lo, I must die. Okay. And Saul answered, God do so, and more also, for thou shalt surely die, Jonathan. So he's basically saying, yeah, we're going through with this. I'm going to kill you, basically. And the people said unto Saul, shall Jonathan die, who has wrought this great salvation in Israel? God forbid. The Lord liveth, there shall not one hair of his head fall to the ground, for he hath wrought with God this day. So the people rescued Jonathan that day, that he died not. Rescued Jonathan that he died not. Okay, so a couple more verses to wrap up today's chapter, but we see that Saul was willing to kill his own son. Okay, but the people saved him because ultimately, if you remember, this all goes back to Jonathan and his armor bearer wiping out 20 men, okay, which started this whole deliverance. Then Saul went up, 46, then Saul went up from following the Philistines, and the Philistines went to their own place. So Saul took the kingdom over Israel and fought against all his enemies on every side, against Moab and against the children of Ammon and against Edom and against the kings of Zeboah and against the Philistines. And whithersoever he turned himself, he vexed, and he gathered an host and smote the Amalekites and delivered Israel out of the hands of them that spoiled them. Now the sons of Saul were Jonathan and Ishuai and Malchishua. And the names of his two daughters, the name of the firstborn Merab and the name of the younger Michal. Okay, so let's just put it here. So we've got Saul's kids. We have Jonathan, someone we've covered so many times. We have Ishuai. We have Malchishua. And then we have his two daughters, Merab and Michal. Okay? And his wife, Saul's wife, the name of Saul's wife, 50, Ahinoam, the daughter of Ahimaaz. Okay? So we have Ahinoam, Saul's wife. The name of the captain of his host, Abner, the son of Ner, Saul's uncle. And Kish, the father of Saul, and Ner, the father of Abner, the son of Abiah. And there was sore war against the Philistines all the days of Saul. And when Saul saw any strong man or any valiant man, he took him unto him. And we wrapped up by the scripture talking about how Saul vexed everyone who fought in battle. So that wraps up day 89 of Through the Bible in 1 year. We've covered 1 Samuel 13 and 14, and we've gone through Saul's big fumble. We've gone through Saul's son going to war secretly, Jonathan, which wrought all this deliverance. We've seen Saul's strange curse, which ultimately cursed his son to death. And we've seen how Saul ultimately tried to kill one of his sons, Jonathan, okay, when he realized that Jonathan was the one that actually breached the curse. Don't forget to subscribe so you can follow along with our journey through the Bible in 1 year, 1 day at a time. And if you want to continue watching our videos, I'm going to put a video right here which I think is going to be very beneficial in regards to similar things to what we're actually covering here. So all the best. Thanks and take care.